Gary Payton, the 1996 Defensive Player of the Year, explained it perfectly. In my era, all we do is rush up on them, handshake them, knock them off to the side and take the ball away from them. Then in 2004, everything changed. The Detroit Pistons upset heavily favored Lakers by playing suffocating defense, and David Stern apparently wasn't happy about it.
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So I continue the journey on the oldest members request available, and this one is from Old School B-Ball, and as you guys know, it's one of my favorite channels. This one's about 3 months old, and it's titled "Why Old School NBA Players Look Unskilled." And I'm happy to react to this one. This kind of reminds me of a couple of videos from just by the title, that is, from the Wilt Chamberlain archive, I believe is what it's called. Highly recommend checking out that channel. And he does a really good job of explaining the differences between the rules of the old game versus how they are now. Heck, even the differences between the 90s and the old game, and you know, especially to now. Like, it's such a drastic difference. But yeah, I have seen and heard younger people clown on the old basketball footage because it looks like I mean, we'll talk about it as we go along, but something as simple as dribbling, you have the flat dribble everywhere you go. So all these crazy maneuvers you're able to do now, and all these steps you're able to take, and you know, you can literally have the ball, palm it, like hold it upside down, move it to the other side of your body, and then dribble and get away with it now. Well, back in the day, if you were like even at a 45-degree angle on the ball, nope, double dribble. Like, double dribble was a common thing back in the day. Anyways, you guys, that's why I want to watch this video, and I'm totally happy to do it, guys. Anyways, I'm going to link the original video down below in the description, like I always do. You also see a list of channel members, shout out channel members. I am here doing my best to fulfill these requests, and slowly but surely we're getting there. Anyways, I appreciate you all. Like the video if you could. It'll help out a lot. And I say let's get to it.
If you spend any time on NBA Twitter, you've seen this take 1,000 times. Players from the 80s and 90s had no handles, couldn't dribble, looked stiff and unattractive. But recently, some compilations started going viral that tell a very different story. What if I told you that the players we call unskilled weren't incapable of modern moves? They were just playing under completely different rules. This compilation is making the rounds, and it is eye-opening. Look at what is happening here. Jerry West, one of the greatest guards ever, gets called for palming the ball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar leans into a defender going up for a shot, off as a foul. Charles Barkley does a turnaround move that would be totally legal today. And here's my favorite. One
two-footed hop, by the way. And that should technically be legal, but I guess the idea is, like, back then, if they're saying which is your pivot foot, oh, you don't have a pivot foot, you can't just jump off a 2 and land on 2. You know, I guess that's the mentality of it back then, because that was the only way we're allowed to move, is to rotate that pivot and then launch off of 2 feet at the exact same time. Unless we're in the action of dribbling, then you get a step in between dribbles.
A player in the 70s gets whistled for carrying on what looks like a completely normal dribble in slow motion. Credit to Kate
hand on the side of the ball.
X for compiling this.
It's like this. That's the ball. Oh man, I used to draw basketballs all the time. Let's do this right. Here we go. Something like that. Going back to my childhood here. Here we go. That's a basketball. Okay. So if your hand is up here, you're fine. That's the old way. And if your hand was down here and you're dribbling the ball, shoving it in this direction, say for example, that's palming violation. Now you could literally have your hand down here and rotate it around, and you don't get called for a palming.
Because what this shows us is that the rules weren't just different, they were strictly, almost obsessively enforced. In the 1980-81 NBA rulebook, the definition was clear. Your hand had to stay on top of the ball, not the side, not underneath, the top. If your palm moved under the ball's center of gravity, or if there was any perceptible rest in the ball's motion, violation.
I'm glad you brought up Isaiah. Isaiah was the first guy to get away with it a little bit. He basically loosened up the rule a little. Then Tim Hardaway loosened up the rule more, and it just went on and on from there.
Turnover. Your team loses the possession. Here's Isaiah Thomas, one of the best ball handlers of his generation, getting called for switching hands at full speed.
I think I saw it. Hold on.
Turnover. Your team loses the possession. Here's Isaiah.
Oop, that looks like that was a palm right there, pretty much. Okay. Yep. Oh, see how he changed the direction of the ball? I see exactly what they're talking about. All right, so he's catching the ball on the right. Now he's got it sideways, and he's gonna shift the direction to the left before he dribbles. Yep, you can't do that back then. You sure as hell can now.
His generation getting called for switching hands at full speed. And this is where it gets interesting. When people say Magic Johnson had no left hand, they're missing the point entirely. Look at this. Even Isaiah Thomas, listed at 6'1", one of the best handlers ever, couldn't do modern crossovers because they were illegal. Magic at 6'9" didn't need to. He could just back defenders down. But then something changed. 1996, Allen Iverson enters the league with a...
That's who I was thinking. He was the next one to take it to the next level.
Crossover that was, by the letter of the 1980s rules, blatantly illegal.
Very
illegal. League had a decision to make. Bob Ryan wrote in the Boston Globe in November 1996, the NBA has actually instructed referees to monitor Allen Iverson's natural dribble, which is a palming violation. The LA Times reported every week, it seems, the league sends out another memo about his palming. Rod Thorne, the NBA's VP of Operations, officially denied there was a specific memo about Iverson, but he did admit there was talk during training camp about tightening up against rampant palming. But here's the smoking gun.
I mean, for me, it would be fine if it was a once in a while thing. But unfortunately, you know how these things go. You give an inch, or they take a mile. So now we're at the point, I got, even though I was a huge Iverson fan, it did frustrate me that he was getting away with this, because he basically never flat dribbled. He always side dribbled, and that did give him an advantage back then.
Sure, years later, explained what really happened. What Iverson did, nobody had ever seen before, and it was a borderline carry. He was popular and exciting to watch. I think the league sort of realized we don't want to call a carry. The league literally looked at it and said, what do we do with this? They choose entertainment over enforcement. And we know these violations still happen because in November 2022, the NBA sent out a memo cracking down on carries. In that month alone, there were 44 carrying violations called. For context, the entire 2021-22 season had 43 total.
That's crazy, man. Well, they obviously abandoned that now, didn't they? Because I've been watching basketball every day in the playoffs, and it's all over the place. It's rampant. And I'll cut through the BS when it comes to why the NBA did this. One, Allen Iverson was really popular. Two, Allen Iverson also represented street culture, street hoops culture. Three, street hoops was on the rise because of and one. So I think they were basically at a point, a fork in the road, where they had to think, okay, are we going to lose our audience because basketball is moving in a different direction without us? So then they tried to incorporate it. The problem is they didn't know when to stop. If they would have just left it how Allen Iverson was doing it and didn't enforce anything above that, okay, maybe we're going in a different direction, but I can get behind that. But the way we've gotten so loose with it, man, I wish they never let Allen Iverson do it in the first place because of how far it's come.
But carrying was just the beginning. This clip went viral recently, and for good reason.
Oh, traveling.
Magic Johnson grabs a rebound, goes coast to coast, throws down a monster dunk, offensive foul. Now, people in the reply...
Ooh, I don't know about that one, though. All right, guy's going up. He's jumping into Magic. Magic's going straight to the basket. I don't know. Let's see what he has to say. Just off of that visual, man, I'm not agreeing with that call. That should have been a defensive foul.
Bly said that was just one bad call. So here's another one. Magic goes behind the back, finger roll, travel. What these clips reveal is a fundamental truth. In the early 1980s, you could not initiate contact going to the rim.
Damn, man. Where's the travel here? Okay.
In the early
I know back then, if they saw anything too fancy, they would just call it travel. They did it to Rookie Jordan a lot too. Okay, dribble, plant, 1, 2. Oh, wait.
early 19
Dribble. 1, 2. Oh no. 1. Wait, is that still one step? Sorry, guys. It's so blurry. The legs are blending in with each other. 1 step. Ah, that left step after the dribble. 2, 3. I mean, it's so close.
You could not initiate contact going to the rim, period. The rule was simple. If you dislodged the defender, whether they were set or not, 90% of the time it was called an offensive foul. The league wanted you to go around defenders or shoot over them, not through them. This is every Giannis drive you've seen for the last 10 years.
Same with LeBron.
But 40 years ago, offensive foul. But the bigger change came with defense. In the 1980s and 90s, hand checking was legal. Defenders could put their hands on you, on your hip, on your chest, and physically guide you away from where you wanted to go. Gary Payton, the 1996 Defensive Player of the Year, explained it perfectly. In my era, all we do is rush up on them, hand check them, knock them off to the side, and take the ball away from them. Then in 2004, everything changed. The Detroit Pistons upset heavily favored Lakers by playing suffocating defense, and David Stern apparently wasn't happy about it.
That's so funny. I was ecstatic about it, not just because it's a Lakers thing, but seeing strong. I'm always rooting for a strong defensive team. So the fact that they were able to overcome the massive offense of the Lakers with strict hardcore defense, I loved it. David Stern, what the hell, man? We should have kept going like that.
Very next season, the NBA instituted a comprehensive ban on hand checking. Any contact on the perimeter that impeded an offensive player's progress was now illegal. The impact was immediate. 2003-2004 season, 93.4 points per game. Next season, 97.2 points per game.
Yeah, so began the inflation.
Personal fouls per game dropped from over 25 in the 1980s to the under 19 in the modern era. Isaiah Thomas, who played in the physical era, admits this freely. If I dominated then, I would dominate now.
Oh yeah,
because rules now favor me.
That goes for any good offensive player from back in the day. Alex English, right off the top of my head, for whatever reason. Any of these guys, you can't put a hand on me. Good luck.
Favored the small guy. Ain't nobody in the lane. He went on to explain, they look faster today because of the rule change, which prohibits holding and hand checking to impede progress.
Yep.
The players did
absolutely, yeah. Of course they look faster because there's no resistance. No resistance allowed to stop their forward momentum. So of course it looks quicker.
Suddenly become more skilled. The rules changed what was possible. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Isaiah Thomas has been saying something for years that people don't want to hear. You all want him to win. You all changed all the rules so he can win. I go down the lane, I get my ass beat. Kevin McHale.
You ever heard of the Jordan rules that you created, Isaiah? He goes down the lane, he got his ass beat too.
Slamming Kurt Rambis to the floor. Everybody's getting hit, but he can't get hit. So we're gonna change all the rules so he can dunk because they're marketing the dunk.
No, it's because you pushed it too far, Isaiah. You guys actually pushed it way too far. You were trying to injure him. That's where you crossed the line. Hard hits or whatever, fair hits, if you're going for the ball, that's one thing. But just jumping up and throwing a guy on the ground or trying to trip him up constantly every time he drove to the lane, you're actively trying to end his career. Any commissioner would have stepped in at that point.
Now, what do you think that is? Sour grapes are not. Thomas was the president of the Players Association during these changes. He saw the business side. Michael Jordan was good for business. He was great for business. And the pattern continued. 2001, zone defense legalized.
Yeah.
But defensive 3 seconds added to prevent paint capping. 2004, hand checking banned after defensive finals. 2009, gather step formally defined after LeBron's crab dribble controversy. The numbers tell the story. Offensive
yeah, I
rating.
know. It's still a travel to me. It's always going to be a travel to me. I mean, just think about where we started in this video, what you saw a travel to be back then, and now look at the crap that a guy like LeBron, and it's not just LeBron, everyone gets away with this now.
After defensive finals.
Look at this.
2009, gather step formally defined after LeBron's crab dribble controversy. The numbers tell the story. Offensive rating points per 100 possessions, 1981, 105.5, 2024, 115.3. Turnover percentage, 1981, 15%, 2024, 12.1%. The game didn't just evolve, it was engineered to favor offense. And now it is trickling down. Watch any middle school or high school game and you'll see kids palming the ball, taking 4 or 5 steps, and never getting called for it. As one reply to these viral videos.
Yeah, it's so funny too. Actually, it's not funny. It's terrible. But you know how offensive fouls used to be called? They were overboard, in fact. Now, look, no hand checking, but look what the offensive player is allowed to get away with. Look at this shove. This happens all the time. So the defender can't touch you, but you're allowed to do that to the defender. Isn't this a little too extreme? Isn't the advantage a little too much on the offensive end here? And wasn't what made scoring special the resistance to scoring?
For it. As one reply to these viral videos said, your favorite player would look just as goofy if they had to play under those strict rules.
Absolutely.
So what is the point of all this?
They couldn't play, I mean, until they adjusted their game. They'd be on the bench because they'd be constantly getting turnovers because of traveling, palming, etc. Offensive fouls like crazy.
It is not to tear down modern players. Guys like Luka, Giannis, Jokic, they're incredible. But when someone tells you that Magic Johnson or Larry Bird or Michael Jordan couldn't play today because they didn't have handles or they were too slow, they are ignoring the fact that these players were operating under fundamentally different constraints.
Yeah.
Saying Magic
It was literally a completely different game. And what's weird to me is that everyone attacks the players, by saying like, for instance, Bird couldn't adapt to today's game. If he grew up, especially, that's the thing. Okay, the old heads could adapt to the current game easy. The hard part's going to be visualizing how a current player could adapt to the old game because the rules are so much more restrictive. You know what I mean? So if you're used to getting away with bloody murder on the offensive end while no one touches you, imagine how hard the adjustment's going to be if you go back and play by those old rules. However, it's not the player's fault. These players have adapted to the rules that are before them. To me, it's the NBA. The NBA is who I'm looking at and saying, what the hell is up with these rules? Please enforce different rules. The players have no choice but to fall in line, and then the game will improve because of it. So it's not to say, Luka could never play in the old day. Yeah, if he grew up in the 80s, and that's all he knew. So he grew up playing basketball when a lot of us did. He would know no other way. Of course he would adapt. He wouldn't have to adapt. This would be how he's trained.
Saying Magic Johnson didn't have a left hand is absurd. He couldn't use moves that would have been called violations. Jerry West didn't have no handles. His handles had to stay on top of the ball. Isaiah Thomas wasn't slow. He was being hand-checked by John Stockton. The players
You see it though, by the way? You see it getting just a tiny bit looser with Isaiah?
Thomas wasn't slow. He was being hand-checked by John Stockton.
So it was a progression over time.
The players were always skilled. The question is, What would they look like if you remove the handcuffs? As Isaiah said, the rules now favor me. Imagine what the 80s superstars would do with a gather step, no hand checking, and the freedom of initiate contact at the rim. This isn't about which era is better, it is about understanding the context. When you watch basketball history, you're not just watching different players, you're watching different games. And massive credit to those Twitter videos and the users who compiled these video clips that got me started on this research. Links to all their original posts are in the description too. Until next time, respect the game, respect the context, and remember those unskilled players were just playing a different sport. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe for more evidence-based basketball history, and drop a comment with which old school player would dominate today. And if you want to support the channel and help me keep going my research heavy videos like this instead of hot takes, check out the membership link below. This is just support, no extra perks, but it genuinely helps.
Awesome. To me, all I'm waiting for now is, okay, before I get into that, the rules change based on players a lot of times. So for instance, you used to be able to stay in the post and back somebody up for an entire 24-second shot clock until Charles Barkley pushed it too far. You know what I mean? Things like that have to happen. So, well, the only way I can see this getting fixed in the NBA is if somebody exploits it so bad, aka nobody can touch a player, right? So I'm thinking we have to have a monster come in, like a Vince Carter type player, who just relentlessly attacks the basket without remorse. And if he can get away with shoving players on his way there, elbowing them in the ribs, you know, and every time he goes up, even after he shoves a player, he's going to get a free throw and the dunk. Guy's going to average like 50 points a game, and then the NBA is going to have to go, okay, now we need to change this. So we need to weaken the offensive players a little bit by tightening up their rules and loosening up a little bit of defenders' rules. But it's not going to happen while everybody, like the highest scorers, are still getting 30. You know? Because at that point, if you're the NBA commissioner, you go, well, Jordan used to average 30, and the rules were strict, and we're still averaging 30. So it must not be that bad, right? Someone's got to come in here and average like 40 or 50. And like I said, I would want it to be like a Vince Carter or Michael Jordan type player, like a young Vince Carter, young Michael Jordan, you know, where they just relentlessly attack the hoop. And at that point, there's no choice but to make changes. But as long as no one is truly dominating in the paint, I don't think it's going to change, because really, who's doing it other than like Giannis and LeBron? Those are the main two guys who are living in the paint, and that's why their shooting percentage is so great. Well, one of the reasons, at least, is because that's what they're doing. They're just barreling down the lane, shoving anyone in their way. They get an extra step or two on the way to the basket. There's no way to stop this, you guys. You know, there's no way to stop that player. He already has it, like, especially Giannis, man. The guy is already a monster, and you're going to give him all those advantages. Yeah, good luck to the defense. Anyways, you guys, that's my take. That's what I think it would have to, what needs to happen before we get some changes. Yeah, that's it. But as long as all these guys are coming in and they're still just like bombing threes, nothing's going to change. So someone's got to stop. And it starts with the organizations, the coaching, and all the analytics teams and all that crap. Someone's got to say, screw your analytics. You are gifted at driving to the paint. I want you to drive to the bucket every freaking play. We need to see that. Until then, I'm out of here. Guys, go check out Old School B-Ball's channel. Link is down below in the description. Like the video, please, on the way out if you could. Excuse me. And yeah, hope to see you guys in the comment section. What do you guys think? Like, for real, for all hate aside on the modern game, what do you think needs to happen as the catalyst to actually change in a positive way where we have a little more balance between offense and defense? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys there, all right? Everybody, be water, my friends.